Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now aren't.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major.
Had a vacation from her job as a social worker for the state of New Hampshire. Barney worked for the post office. Neither believed in UFO reality at that time. They had never read a book on the topic. They took a brief vacation to Niagara Falls, onto Toronto, onto Montreal, and they were driving home through the White Mountains of New Hampshire on September 19, 1961, when they had a close encounter with a UFO. It came so close that it was within 100 feet, estimated by them, of their location. Barney got out of the car with his binoculars. He looked up at it, and according to the Air Force report and the report that they made to the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, very shortly thereafter, they observed a craft that was approximately 100 feet above them. It was extremely large. They told the Air Force that it was as large as a dinner plate at arm's length. Keep in mind that an aspirin will cover the full moon at arm's length. This was very close to them. It was observed by at least a dozen additional people. It was on radar on the Air Force's 2 radar stations, and a follow-up study by the Air Force stated that this was a bona fide sighting, not just a blip on the radar screen.
So he got out, Barney got out of the car and he got his binoculars out. What did he see through? This really surprised me, what he saw at the windows of the craft with his binoculars.
The early reports state that Barney saw figures standing behind the windows on this craft. They were dressed in black, shiny uniforms, and he described them as being, quote, somehow not human, close quote.
So he very quickly ran towards the car because a red beam of light came out of this spaceship, and he ran towards the car, said to Betty, we need to get out of here, we need to get out of here. And there was a noise, a sound, and they felt this sort of feeling come over them. And then they woke up and realized they'd lost 2 hours of time.
Yes, Barney became terrified when he began to think that there was a plan for him, and he said, quote, that he was going to be captured like a bug in a net. He ran from the field he was standing in back to the vehicle, jumped into the car, and started to race down the highway to try to escape from this craft that had, at that point, moved over the top of the vehicle. He told Betty to roll down the window. She did. She looked up. She expected to see lights. There were no lights present. All she saw was blackness, even though it was a bright light night. The moon was about 3/4 full. She rolled the window back up again, and at that point the car started to vibrate. She and Barney heard a series of buzzing sounds striking the trunk of the car, and suddenly they found themselves in a new location. and they were 35 miles down the road with very little memory for what had happened in the interim. They did recall that they had encountered a roadblock somewhere along the way. They had also observed a fiery orb. They did not know what that was. It was a vague memory. Later they realized that it was moving, but they were not moving. They drove on to their home in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and found evidence that something unusual had occurred to them.
Well,
Betty's dress was torn in several locations.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was coming on to that because the zipper on her dress was broken. His shoes were in such a mess that he had to throw them away. And your concrete evidence, which we said in the introduction, is quite interesting. The pink powder, explain that.
Betty's dress was torn in several locations. There was a 2-inch tear in the zipper fabric, the stitching at the top of her dress, a 1-inch tear in the thick zipper fabric. The dress was torn from waist to hemline, and the hem was torn down on one side. It indicated that something had happened that Betty could not remember. It had been in fine condition when she put it on that day. She folded the dress up when she arrived home and put it in her closet, knowing that she would have to repair it. The next time she took the dress out, it was covered with a pink powdery substance, not the entire dress. Some of it remained blue, but the pink powder discolored the fiber in the dress and degraded the fiber.
Did you have it analyzed? What was it?
It is one of the pieces of concrete evidence. It has been analyzed in at least 5 scientific laboratories to date, and the finding is anomalous. They have found proteins on the dress, they have found oils on the dress, they know that they did not belong to Betty. The dress is most deeply saturated with the pink substance in the areas where Betty stated that these non-human entities actually touched the dress.
Is it of this planet?
They were not able to determine whether or not this was of this planet. Certainly some of the material on that dress was. There was dirt, there was bacteria, there were those sorts of things that would be on any article of human clothing, particularly after it had been sitting in a closet for a long period of time.
It really does remain a complete mystery, doesn't it? And it's absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for joining us.
Contact with A$AP Rocky, I knew exactly what he was getting ready to talk about next. I've noticed that within their videos there was a ton of occult symbology. These guys playing with Bibles, standing inside of Baphomets. The clothing line that they're wearing has the compass and square. It's called Black Label and has Baphomets on it. These guys fully are promoting the occult. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not the only group that is guilty for using a high amount of occult symbology within their videos. What's going on right now within the entertainment industry and media at large, period, is the fulfilling of Alice Bailey's stratagem to make all of the arts occultic, music, poetry, arts, etc., to make them immoral, occultic, obscene, all of these things. It is a part of the New Age movement's agenda to establish a one world government system under which Lucifer will be acknowledged as sovereign.
I'm a lesbian.
They, she.
They, he, non-binary, trans masc.
Bisexual. I'm just trans.
I'm a gay male pup.
Yeah.
Gay male pup.
Yeah.
Transgender, he, him. I'm cis, she, her.
Probably non-binary, yeah, would be the best.
What about you? Bi?
A lesbian. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I like frogs, not people. I'm sorry? I like frogs, not people.
Everything your government has told you about this virus is a lie.
Trust the experts, trust the experts.
Are you afraid of the flu? Don't bother me. I mean, that's the reality of how people perceive flu. So we really do have a problem of how the world perceives influenza, and it's going to be very difficult to change that unless you do it from within and say, I don't care what your perception is, we're going to address the problem in a disruptive way and in an iterative way, because you do need both.
Make sure you wear your mask at all times. Do your part. It is a federal crime. We catch you with that mask below your nose.
Don't ask questions.
Do what you are told. It is for your safety.
We have 33 confirmed positive tests.
COVID-19 in Thailand remains at 33.
33. 33.
33.
33.
33.
There were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
33.
There was 33 everywhere. I think that was Red Team Go. I think 33 is like Red Team Go. Everybody goes, okay, let's do it. It's time.
89% until 94% of those PCR tests are false positive.
It doesn't tell you that you're sick, and it doesn't tell you that the thing you ended up with really was going to hurt you or anything like that.
Everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death.
We didn't understand that it's a fairly low fatality rate and that it's a disease mainly of the elderly, kind of like flu.
This isn't going to be run on CNN for a week.
No flu to be found.
You got lied to and fell for this shit.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
Why are we being pressured to add COVID?
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You are correct. I should not be giving these vaccines out.
You've been subject to propaganda and lies by people who are very well trained in how they do that.
Only one person in the entire state died from the flu.
So when you deny this stuff, or when you don't want to believe this stuff, you don't want to face reality, it's only hurting you.
They relied on people's ignorance. Everybody sees what's going on. People woke up, man. They're not looking for anybody to save them. They're saving themselves.
There's your flu last year. Here's your flu this year. Literally doesn't even exist.
Okay. Show that it's not my glare again, because people always say that kind of stuff. Zoom out. Zoom in. Out. In. This is a freaking glitch, Mom.
What is happening? The Matrix.
Matrix.
So exciting.
Oh my god. I am the most confused.
And on the naked eye, you see the big sun.
Cannot see it.
Yeah, but they keep getting more and more inclusive. So, the LGBT, let me get this right. How's it go, Justin?
I will never apologize for standing up for an LGBTQ2 plus.
Yeah, that. The LGBTQ2I2S plus flag has been updated by the official flag creator for prides and LGBT orgs. The new flag has now added autism.
Y'all know it's a little crazy to me that the government gaslights the out of quote unquote conspiracy theorists or people who can critically think for themselves. How did they spend decades telling people that aliens and UFOs weren't real? People were getting mentally committed into mental institutions for talking the truths that they know or experience themselves, seeing aliens and UFOs, only for them to just admit it these last few months of 2023, that, oh yeah, we've lied the whole time. Actually, UFOs, aliens, other life, why would you think not? Just watch.
Bombshell claims from a military whistleblower. UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S. kept classified by a secret government program for decades. UFOs exist. The U.S. government found quite a number of them, and they are indeed of non-human origin. Those are the explosive allegations from a former intelligence officer tonight in a whistleblower complaint that the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old Air Force veteran David Grush is exposing what he calls a top-secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs. The government now calls them UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the U.S. defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
you were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No.
If you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Join Esperanza Spalding for holiday favorite Arlen Kelly and Jennifer are going to join forces for Go Home for a holiday favorite. Join Esperanza Spalding for holiday favorite Arlen Kelly and Jennifer are going to join forces for Go Home for a holiday favorite. Join Esperanza Spalding for holiday favorite Arlen Kelly and Jennifer are going to join forces for Go Home for a holiday favorite.
The CIA document that came out, everybody just started talking about it now. It's called the Adam and Eve story. It basically explains how the world is going to end. Has it been true? It makes sense. They say the world is going to end because the poles, North and South Pole, they shift every 12,000 to 15,000 years. And once they shift, it causes a giant apocalypse. Big earthquakes, giant tsunamis. Once the apocalypse happens, we go right back to the Stone Age. And it said that our first humans, as us, it was 10,000 years ago. So if you think about it, 10,000 years ago, we're in year 2000. We're at 12,000 years right now. And now you see global warming and like that. In the book, it says that we are the sixth civilization that came out of the apocalypse. So we just get to a certain point in life and then it just hard reset. And that explains a lot because remember how you were saying that the Sahara Desert used to be green and the Antarctica used to have forests like that? Yeah. That's what happens. It switches
everything, flips. Yeah.
So now some places turn cold, some places turn hot. That's why they was talking about the flood in the Bible like that. That's probably what happened to Atlantis and shit
I was
like
just
that.
about to say Atlantis. It would make sense for a city in the water if the water wasn't there before.
A guy named Kei Mori, Keio University in Tokyo, started raising tomato plants. All he did was filter the sunlight so that the light was not giving any ultraviolet or any X-rays, just pure light. He did not pressurize the air. He did not give it increased CO2, just simply filtered sunlight. His tomato plant grew 16 feet tall and produced 900 tomatoes on one plant. It kept growing and growing. They moved it to a shopping center, built scaffolding to hold up the branches. They said this thing might produce 10,000 tomatoes. Well, the last I heard, it actually produced 15,000 tomatoes and grew 40 feet tall, a tomato tree. Now his tomatoes, they were cherry tomatoes, but they came off baseball size. That was just filtered sunlight.
When they used our technology against us, the war started. They destroyed our energy towers, they destroyed our trees. Okay? That was our main connection to our power, our trees and our energy towers, which is where all your crystals and sapphire, all this shit is nothing but the remnants of ancient energy towers that we used to have. These are the pieces. They were blown up. Our oppressors blew up our energy towers that were made out of these beautiful crystals and these beautiful days and beautiful sapphires and rubies and all this shit, right? And that's why they shaped like this. All these weird little shapes, because they were blew up. Clear signs of an explosion. You can't cut shit like that. I keep telling y'all that. Now, you think a little crystal work, imagine a big ass tower of this shit, nigga. I told y'all about how they manipulated the Moors and tricked the Moors into giving them the access codes, and there it go. Boom. So They got access to our technology and was able to use it against us, and that's how we fail. All right, that's how we got to where we is now. So when they blew up our towers and shit, and they cut the trees down, they cut us from our source of our connection. It's just like if you on the phone and your phone dead, so you got it on the charger. If I come and hit the jack, boop, it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So once they did that, guess what? We was still warring with them. Okay? So when we was warring with them, that's when they called in for backup, because they destroyed our trees, they destroyed our towers. We fell in frequency, so we got smaller. We changed in color, but we was still fucking them up though, because we still knew basic magic like voodoo and hoodoo, and we still knew that basic shit. So we was still in tune with the nature, like the Seminoles. They tell you about the Seminoles and shit, the Seminole Wars. We was still in tune with nature. How the Seminoles used to hide in the swamps with the alligators, nigga. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we in tune with nature like that. Family, what you talking about, nigga? An alligator ain't gonna harm you, nigga. They know who you is, nigga. You scared of him, nigga, because they put fear in you. But you better go back and look at your history, your ancestors, when they went to with them Seminoles, nigga, where was they at? Florida swamps, nigga. Who won't smoke? And that's why they lasted so long. Them Caucasians wasn't finna come in that motherfucking swamp, nigga. Them alligators was in that bitch, nigga. And they was hiding in the swamp, nigga, like under the water, nigga. You see what I'm saying? Y'all better go back and look at them Seminole Wars, nigga. But yeah, that's just a small little dose of what we did. We did way more than that. You know, they ain't gonna even tell you the half. You know what I'm saying? They gonna give you one story or two and then contort that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell y'all the whole. You know what I'm saying?
Bible prophecy that's happening before our eyes, and no one is talking about it. In the book of Revelations, it is mentioned that the great river Euphrates will dry up before the last days. The great river Euphrates that flows through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq has dried up. The sixth angel poured his bowl on the great Euphrates River. It dried up to nothing. The dry riverbed became a fine roadbed for the kings from the east. Revelation 16:12. It said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, "Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." Revelation 9:14. These verses highlight the geographical significance of the Euphrates River, which was one of the 4 rivers flowing out of the Garden of Eden according to Genesis. It is predicted to fully dry up before 2040. In the book of Revelation, the Euphrates River is mentioned in the context of end-time prophecies, symbolizing a significant location where spiritual events are taking place and a sign of the end times. This is the end of this episode. Follow for more.